The SSC selection post examinations are going on and lot of changes have come across in all the subjects. I am addressing one such change today, and if you watch this session till the end, it will be extremely clear to you how to tackle these paragraph based questions of social and emotional intelligence, right? So let's start right away. I'll first let you know what all we'll cover in this session today. So in this session, we'll be dealing with the complete concept and understanding of social and emotional intelligence, what it exactly is, why is it required, what do examiners test after, with these with such questions, and we will also be practicing a few questions so that we understand how to approach these questions overall, right? So one crisp session for you where everything will be clear and to the point. Now, before we begin officially, just a little things as informations I need to let you know. Number one, that Oliveboard has launched the new pattern, the new interface of SSC on its platform with the mocks. I'll just show it to you. So you can also attempt the same at your end and get familiar with the interface as much as possible. Okay. So this is the new interface. I'll just show you one test mock here. So see, the pattern is given here. So you take test, I'll click here, and this is how it will look like. Okay. So everything is absolutely as per the new interface. Go ahead and check it out. Your interface practice, your muscle memory will also build with this, right? Let's come back now. And to enable this feature, Oliveboard has also, what it has done is, it has launched the reattempt mock feature. So the reattempt mock feature has been launched where you can reattempt a mock maximum 2 times, right? So all these mocks will be available to you again to reattempt as fresh mocks to increase your practice, right? Now let's talk about our main topic today, which is social and emotional intelligence. Now obviously the points are here in front of you, but before starting here, I'll just give you a brief, introduction before we actually dive into the topic, right? Now, when I talk about social and emotional intelligence, it has been a part of logical reasoning for a very long time. But as far as SSC exams or even one-day examinations, your banking exams, your railway exams, any exams are considered, what they do is they restrict themselves to abstract reasoning. Okay. Now we have labeled the session today as Analytical Reasoning Part 1. We are assessing all the new patterns of SSC. So today I am only specifically focusing on social and emotional intelligence, but in the next session I'll take you through the critical reasoning aspect of it also, right? So all those statement based questions will be addressed. Now, so what has happened is they were only testing the abstract reasoning part of it, where a logic, a pattern had to be identified. Basically, logical reasoning tests how is the functionality of your overall brain, right? Now these abstract logics, which are important, they have not lost their relevance, but they only test a certain part of your brain, not the other aspect of it, of how you deal with humans, of how you deal with yourself, right? So scientifically, humans were known to be, or the intelligence of humans was measured by the intelligence quotient, IQ, okay? And for a very long time that kept on going on, but then that had restrictions. So what happened is, a new term was coined and introduced, which was known as emotional quotient. Okay. Basically, intelligence quotient is overall is fine, but apart from your intelligence, your sense, you also need to be able to understand, decipher emotions. Okay. So then came emotional intelligence. Gradually, under the broad category of emotional intelligence, they added another intelligence, which was social intelligence or social quotient. So intelligence quotient IQ, emotional quotient EQ, and social quotient SQ. A lot of people misunderstand SQ as their way of interacting with others. That is just one aspect of it. A lot of introverts feel that, okay, I think my SQ is low, that is why I can't talk to people. That's not it. That's totally different. SQ simply implies, in a very brief, in a very simple language, I'll tell you, social quotient implies your ability to decipher others' emotions. And now EQ specifies on your ability to understand your own emotions. Okay. So it's the game of empathy and sympathy, a right balance of the two. Right. So that is the brief introduction I wanted to share with you. Now we'll start. Good evening Yogesh. How are you? So what is social and emotional intelligence? It is understanding, interpreting and responding effectively to social situations and emotions. That is what they are going to gauge, right? Of yourself, that is emotional intelligence, and others, that is social intelligence. Okay. Unlike abstract logic, whatever you used to do till now in logical reasoning is more or less abstract logic. Okay. This focuses on human behavior, feelings, motivations and relationships. So this tests you in real. Okay. And in short, what you can say is it is like putting yourself in others' shoes, just to be able to empathize that what that other person must be going through in this situation. That is what these questions test. Okay. Why is it important? Again, so they are going to make you officers of the country, of the nation. You're going to serve the nation in very crucial posts. So in that case, they need to judge what is your overall emotional quotient level, what is your overall social quotient level. Of course, just by a few questions, they might not be able to get it, but majorly they understand that we are filtering the right, person to cross this barrier. So beyond standardized tests, what all they actually will help you to understand, will help them, the examiner, to test your effective communication skills, right? Your strong relationship building ability, how you will actually be able to cater to these relationship requirements, and that will show what kind of a dedicated leader you are and how, whether you will be able to work in a team led by somebody else, and simultaneously you will be able to lead a team including some other people. So there has to be a balance between the two. You can't be an alpha leader alone and you can't be a beta follower alone. There has to be a balance. Okay. Holistic problem solving. Okay. Problem solving has to be how calm you are in the situation and how you come up to the best possible solution and how soon can you do it. That is more important. And overall personal well-being also. There is a good number of people around who actually what they do is when they start empathizing towards others. See, there are extremes in any society. Now, there are a group of people who are so empathetic towards somebody else that they start reflecting their emotions. I'm sure some of you are one of them, right? So if you are very happy generally, you are always happy and catering to others, tending to others' needs. But the moment you see that that particular person is upset, you start feeling upset yourself. That is the level of empathy you have. So excess of anything is bad. So you have to have a personal well-being. That is why a balance of social and emotional intelligence. If your social intelligence is too high, but the emotional quotient is low, that means you don't cater to your own emotions. You cannot recognize your own emotions. That also creates a ruckus. That can lead to catastrophic incidents. Okay. Now, what are the key skills required? Sir, how do I study? So far, logical reasoning we were dealing with as regular questions, right? We were dealing with like regular quant questions, like we were just remembering formula tricks, we were applying and we were getting through the questions. Now this is something new. How do we understand? How do we learn? So this is another aspect of logical reasoning in parallel to critical reasoning, which requires a separate set of skills. It's not just merely, rote learning and applying. It's slightly different. Critical reasoning requires critical thinking ability, critical thinking skills. These require social and emotional skills. So what are the key skills which are needed? Of course, your emotional recognition. You have to have the ability to be able to recognize what you are feeling in a particular state, what the other may be feeling in a particular state. Okay, somebody is angry. Okay, and you get counter angry. Why is he angry always with me? No. Try to empathize why he may be angry. Maybe that incident is not related to you at all. So don't try to personally take everything to yourself. This might sound more like a philosophy class. Actually, this topic has been extracted from there only, right? From psychology basically. And this is a very common topic in your PSC examination, that is Public Service Commission examinations, MPPSC, UPSC, UPPCS. They ask you some questions based on ethics, etc. So this majorly is based on that, but not so extensively. Briefly, you will have to understand, right? Of course, your empathy needs to be strong. You need to be able to put yourself into others' shoes. Your social awareness, what is going on around you, your self-awareness, what is going on inside you, your relationship management and social skills, and problem solving in social scenarios. So you have to have all these skills, and you have it somewhat or the other. Everybody has this. All they need to is work on this. Okay. Now, there is a general setup. What is the setup? That each people, good evening Argamita, how are you? Each person, what he or she does is, they always relate to these questions very differently. And they are like, okay, there is a huge audience who's going to take this paper now. Okay, there's a huge audience who was sitting for the SSC selection post, and a larger audience is ready to sit for the CGL examinations. Now, how do we deal with this? Because all these people, everybody is going to have different set of emotions. So how can we arrive at the same answer? So that is the beauty, that there is a standard which they are expecting, that okay, an ideal person, an ideal officer has to be around this standard. Okay, and your answers have to lie in that standard zone. Of course, it will be very clearly visible when you look at the questions, but for you to practice them is of utmost importance. Okay, how to approach this concept? So you have to develop a human-centric mindset. That is, how much a human life is being affected, how much a human is being affected in a particular scenario. So when you look at a problem, you understand the complete details and you understand where do I need to prioritize? Where are humans involved? Where are some other aspects involved which might not be as important as the humans? And how important is for me to understand what the other human being might be feeling or going through in the same situation. The first and foremost rule in these questions is that you have to be very serious with the question. Whenever you read a question, don't just read it like, okay, this is a question, another question, +2 or -0.25, who cares? I'll just mark and I'll just move ahead. That is not what you need to do. You need to be very focused. You need to understand and analyze as if this is a real life scenario, as if you are in the scenario, as if you are the protagonist of the scenario. And this particular topic, when you look at the questions, you'll understand now, is much more like an extension of statement course of action, but in a different way. Okay. Good, bacha. Very good. Now we'll deconstruct the scenario. So next step is how you approach this. You deconstruct the scenario. You look at the complete details. What was the exact cause of this scenario? What is currently happening? What is currently happening? What can be the future aspects to it? What can be the immediate solutions to it? Okay. How I can minimize loss of lives or loss of property or anything, and how I can maximize benefit and safety for everybody. So this, you have to deconstruct the complete problem and you have to be quick about it, right? You have to apply empathy systematically. So systematically start applying empathy. Empathy means there is a certain way you will apply that. Okay, what if I was in this person's shoes? What would I have done? What would I have chosen? I hope that wouldn't have been an extreme step. There are some people who are mentally very challenged. In a very challenging situation, their response might be totally different to what is ideally expected of a person. So you have to analyze that. You have to get there. That also shows how much your mental capacity is right now. Okay. This becomes a very strategic point. Evaluate answer choices strategically. See, you have 4 options. Okay. Now, out of 4 options, 2 of them maximum will be very obvious negative answers. That is, you will be able to straight away reject them. 2 of those, maximum at max 2. Okay. The other 2 is where you will be actually suffering. So that needs to be put into the right perspective. Okay. So immediately delete the answers, the options which you think are irrelevant, which you think are totally negative, totally not going to solve your problem at all. So you reject them, and then in the balanced ones only, remaining ones, you start thinking that what is actually the most appropriate solution. Now some of the questions are very direct. You will be able to get your answers almost by reading. But in some of the questions you will actually feel that, okay, I am not sure. This is a dilemma. I don't know what to choose, what not to choose. Okay. That is where this will help you out if you practice this. So practice as much as possible. Practice as much as possible. Right? Now keeping all these points in mind, I believe it's quite understandable. There is no theory here. I'm just trying to explain you what is social and emotional intelligence and how you can go about it. There is no theory involved here whatsoever. Okay. So there is no, 5-point formula which you need to remember and approach the questions. The questions, gradually you will start developing your skill. The more you read, the better you will get. Okay. And of course, so the conclusion overall is that it is not just a simple test taking skill. It is not a theory test that, okay, solve these 10 questions. If you score 9, you will be selected. If you score 3, you will be rejected. No. It is vital life skills. If you are scoring a 9, that means you are doing good in life. If you are scoring a 3, that means there is some problem. We need to evaluate you on a life level. It's not only about clearing this test or becoming an inspector or an officer or not. It's about something else. Are you emotionally stable? Are you mentally stable? It becomes that. Okay. So you have to, it will help you hone your emotional recognition, empathy, social awareness, problem solving. You have to approach it with a genuine desire to solve the question. Okay. You can't just merely be solving it for the sake of it. You have to be there experiencing the whole problem as if this is a real life scenario, and how I would have done, what would I have done to make this, as less impactful to people as possible. And enrich personal and professional life. Okay. So that's pretty much it about the theory aspect of it. Whatever I had to share with you, I have done that already. But I have brought some questions, some practice questions for you. Some of these questions are from previous year PSC examinations. Okay. PSC, I use the term PSC very broadly. I am not saying PCS. Please don't confuse this with PCS. PCS is only for provincial civil services. I am talking about general PSC examinations. PSC means Public Service Commission. So, for example, MPPSC, BPPSC, BPSC, UPPSC, okay, UPSC for that matter. All these public service commissions and state public service commissions, central public service commissions, they take examinations for various posts. So this one, social and emotional intelligence under ethics, becomes a common topic there. So some of them are actually previous year questions. You can Google them also if you need to. Some of them are from practice books. I have brought in a very short collection of 10 questions today. We'll practice them and we'll understand better as to what overall SSC is asking and what you can expect in your upcoming SSC CGL examinations, right? So let's start. I want all of you to participate, those who are watching it live. So this is the first question. Just go through this question, look at these scenarios and select the best possible answer and put it in the chat box. So actually I am going outside the window just so that you can see the question, you can read it, but I am right here in front of you, don't worry. For the first question I will not put a timer, but gradually going forward I will start putting timers also, so that we can understand that how much time we will actually have in the examination to attempt this question. Okay. Very good, very good. We already have answers. What about the rest of you? Everybody needs to participate here. So assume you are going somewhere by the train and you have seen a person fall off from your coach. What would you do? You are sitting in a train right now. Imagine yourself, you are in a train, you are in a compartment. Okay, AC, non-AC does not matter. This information is not important. You're sitting in a train, the train is moving and you suddenly see from the door somebody has just fallen off. What would you do? Immediately thinking that you need to save that human life at any cost. Wait until the next train stop arises and then tell the incident to authorities. A lot of people will feel that, yeah, this is the right way to go about it. Pull the emergency chain to stop the train. You also jump off from the coach to help the falling person. A lot of you brave hearts might want to do this, but this is not the right approach. The probability of you being safe is very less here. So what will happen is so one life is already in danger, you are putting your own life in danger and eventually both of you might end up jeopardizing everything completely. So this is not the right approach. Shout to the person who is falling to react quickly and return to the train. This is obviously baseless. So we are only left with two options now. We have to think what needs to be done. The immediate course of action is, there is a provision of a chain, right? The emergency pull chain. So if the train is moving and somebody has fallen off, you need to pull the chain immediately, stop there, understand whether the person is okay or not. Then from there you take it further. Okay. So this is the most appropriate action which will be taken here. So, okay. Now this is, a lot of people think that this is a course of action question. No, this is social and emotional intelligence based questions. You could have just waited for the next stop and informed the authorities that please take care, somebody had fallen down there. But by that time it will be too late. Probably the person will have died or maybe have been injured brutally. Okay. So anything at all, if a medical scenario has occurred, help needs to be available immediately. Yes, next. I am right here. Okay. Just letting you read it thoroughly. Now, this is the second question. Again, there are 5 scenarios here. Obviously, in SSC now you will be only having 4 scenarios. Out of 4, you will have to choose the correct one. Most probably that's how they are asking the question so far. Anyone? Very good. Okay, we have an answer. Excellent, Argamita. Good job. Let's see. Assume you are going somewhere by the bus. You have noticed that someone has left a wallet. What would you do? Donate the money from the wallet to the needy. This is a very good thing to do, but this is not your money to donate. So this is obviously incorrect. Okay. Would not touch the wallet and let it be in its place. Unfortunately, this is what a lot of us have been taught as little children, as young children, and it has its own reasons. I would not reject it completely, but a lot of parents, they don't want their children to involve into all these things when they are alone specifically, because you never know what will lead to what. So they're like, "Arey, dur raho, don't fall into all these things." But genuinely what you would have done, what is ideally expected of you, that is what needs to be answered here. Okay. Give it to the conductor of the bus. This seems to be slightly valid. Okay, I found a wallet, I give it to the conductor, then whatever he has to do, he will do, I don't care. Or with the help of information available in the wallet, you would try to find its owner and inform them about the situation, or take the wallet along with you and spend the money for yourself. Of course, this is also an obvious incorrect answer. The problem is out of these two now. Okay. And out of these two, the best scenario, the most human scenario where you are empathizing with the person. Just imagine if you had lost your wallet. So this is empathy. What if I had lost my wallet? And what if somebody had found it and they had just given it to the bus conductor, and the bus conductor would have used the money and done whatever he wanted to do, or might have put it in the lost and found of the bus, and I would have never found it. Okay. But what if that person would have actually called me, "Sir, I found your wallet in this bus, you can collect it from here." I would have been, it would have been very joyful for me. So this is this is actually the most appropriate answer here. So option 4 becomes the correct answer. Now, did you understand how you have to use empathy to actually get to these answers? It's very simple. It's not difficult. Just that you need to be focused here and you need to have a lot of practice. Next. Sorry. Okay. So you are walking on a road and find an old man who has forgotten his way. So what would you do? Ignore the old man and continue to walk on your path? Of course, this is absolutely incorrect. Provide him with some money and let him go. Was he even asking for money? Tell him to contact the police station and leave the place, and gather the information from the old man about his address and lead him accurately. Out here again, now a lot of people have a counter question often when I teach this. They are like, okay, why would we help him so much? We just need to help him, no? So we'll take a neutral path, we'll ask him to contact the police station and we'll go. The old man has forgotten his way. Maybe he has dementia, maybe he has Alzheimer's, maybe he does not remember things, maybe he's lost. Okay, so if you just tell him go to the police station, nobody knows whether he'll go to the correct police station, whether he'll go to the police station, whether something will go wrong with him. So it's a matter of human life here. You can't ignore that. So what is the best possible solution here? The best possible solution is that you gather the information from the old man, everything which he can tell you, and try to figure it out, and then you lead him accurately. Now, this might seem vague and bookish to a lot of people, but that is what ideally is expected. So always go to the ideal scenario. Do not cross question, because if you cross question here, that what if that old man is a kidnapper, what if he gives me, he sedates me with something and he picks me up and then calls my family for a ransom. Dear son or daughter, dear child, you are talking about an extreme scenario and a special case which we are not discussing here. We are discussing generally, if this would have happened, what would you have done without any extra assumptions. Always remember these questions, you will never assume anything extra. So my answer 4 will be the correct answer. Cool? Works? Satisfied? Next. Bendelji, please be careful. Avijit says 1 seems to be logical. As per today's world, I would say yes, but not as per SI and EI, or not as per social and emotional intelligence. You would not do that. As per today's world, you should. A primary reason why a lot of us have been taught from since very young that never ever stop your vehicle to give lifts to somebody unknown. Never. No matter how, how much how empathetic you're feeling, you should not do that. But that is contrasting. In a question, if this was asked, you should have done that. Ideally, this is what ideally it is expected of you. So change your thought process there. Okay. Are you able to read? Okay. Assume that you are the head of office in which you work. So there is an office where you are the head of that department, of that office. An employee of this company was turned off for work as his mother was ill. What would you do? A lot of people don't understand the language only. What is turned off for work? Turned off for work simply means a leave of absence without informing. It's like it's like an ULWP, uninformed leave without pay. They don't inform you, but they are just absent. Why? Then it was later found out that his mother was ill. That is why he was absent from work. This is called off from work, turned off from work. Turned off from work also implies if you fire somebody, but obviously from the question it is very clear what they are trying to say. So now you are the head of the office and you have come to know that this one employee did not turn up for work today without informing because his mother was ill. This is what you found out. What would you do? Shout at the employee and warn him to work properly. The majority of people do that. Unfortunately, that's not right. Majority of the officers do that. Unfortunately, that's not right. As officers, you have to have the most amount of empathy you can towards other people, especially towards common people. Ask about his mother's condition and suggest that he inform you when he takes a leave. Okay. Ask him about his mother's condition and provide him with a leave. A lot of people end up marking this. I'll tell you why. And let him relax. This is too obviously incorrect. You have to do something, right? You have to set a precedent also. Now, a lot of people, they get now over empathetic. Remember I told you strike a balance? Oh, I think, okay, give him extra off. So you don't come for 2-3 more days. Please relax, take care of your mother. Again, ideally, a lot of good people do that. But he has just told you his mother is ill. You're not sure whether that's true or not. Also, you can't let your organization, who you are leading, suffer. Okay, his mother is ill. It's very important. Let him decide what needs to be done, whether he really needs to take an off or not. So the ideal answer here is that you ask about his mother's condition. How is ma'am? How is your mother? Hopefully she's fine. And you suggest that if you need leave, you just let me know in future. There should not be a problem, right? So this is the best balanced approach towards your, as you are the head of the office. So my answer option 2 will be the accurate and correct answer here. Now can you see little changes are coming in the question. Now the options are more close. Analyzing and understanding is becoming difficult. How to approach actually? A lot of students end up marking 3 because you think that ideally means extreme ideal cases. No. You don't have to make a fool out of yourself. Agreed? Next. Correct, exactly. Next. So sorry. So far I hope there is a good balance between social intelligence and emotional intelligence, what we had understood, what we had read as far as the concept was concerned, and how you are approaching the questions. These questions have been, not exactly these, but questions like these have actually been asked in your SSC selection post this time from the reasoning section. So it is very much expected to come up in your CGL exam also. Also, this topic has been mentioned in your syllabus for quite a long time now, but they had never asked question. TCS had never put across questions from this topic. That is why again and again I am reiterating the fact that you have to go through your concept completely. Syllabus needs to be completed thoroughly. Okay, and every aspect of it needs to be covered, and you know, slightly more than what is mentioned, so that you are ready for anything which comes your way. Okay. Now, while going to office, your friend thought of visiting your house on his way. Okay. You would. Again, an interesting question. Very interesting question. Look at this. Okay. So you are going to the office and midway your friend has just met you and he's saying that I was coming your house on your way. What would you do? You would not assist him at all. Arey, you're my friend. Leave, I'll meet you later on. You can't do that. Offer your friend some refreshments and ask him to have some. Okay. Ask him to spend at least a quarter of an hour with you. Okay. Avoid him awkwardly and not do anything for him. Oh, hope he does not look at me. Hope he does not see me and just go. That is not how you proceed, right? So first and fourth are obviously incorrect. Now second and third is the biggest challenge here. Students, majority of the students answer this as the correct answer. That okay, if my friend has come, I'll offer some refreshments. And eventually this question means that I'll offer some refreshments and ask him to have some. Oh, you have come. Oh yeah, have this namkeen and have this samosa and all. Yeah, bye, I'm going to office. Your friend did not come to have refreshments. What was the sole purpose of him to come you? Visiting your house to meet you, not to eat samosa. So this is not important. As a human, as an empathetic human, when you are going to meet your friend, what do you expect? That the friend, even if he is going to work, he stalls that work for a temporary while because okay, work is also important and you also did not know that he had work at that time. So he stalls his work for a while, spends some time with you because you're already there and then wishes you goodbye and moves ahead to continue his work. This is the ideal situation and this is what you will do. Ask him to spend at least a quarter of an hour with you. Now this is what creates a problem. This statement here makes you feel like at least a quarter of an hour. Why is this so specific? In short, they are trying to tell you, okay, 15 minutes means now that you have come, I would love to spend some time with you. You know, just by listening that, okay, I have work, don't go away. Come here, at least spend 15 minutes with me. Then we'll go. We'll go our ways. So the most ideal answer here becomes option 3. Again, majority of the students fail this. Okay. So why offering refreshments? Because in majority of the households, whenever somebody comes from outside, you offer refreshments. Remember, the sole purpose of somebody visiting your place is not to have refreshments. Maybe in some cases, but in reality, in ideal situations, that is not the case. They are coming to meet you, spend time with you, which is more important. Understanding the focus point? Next. So these are all SI and EI based questions. And this is the level where they will be, going around. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Suppose you are playing a game of football with your friends. Your kick injured one of your friends and blood started to come out from his nose. What would you do? Try to blame someone else? Take him to the first aid room? Frighten and leave the field basically? Start fighting with their friend and tell them that it's all their fault as he came. So I think 1 and 4 is the same thing only. This is very clear. This is very easy. This is one of those obvious questions that you will take him to the first aid room because primarily human life is important here. Leaving everything aside, you will go with him to the first aid room. Next. Yeah, of course. So majority what they do in real, we all know when we are reading the options, we all have that urge to mark that option, but that is not always true. You have to go with the ideal situation. So what about this one? When you pass by a meeting hall in your office, you see that all the fans and lights are on and nobody is there in the hall. What will you do? Okay, today in the end of the session, I have also marked a special bonus question for you. So wait till the end of the session to see that bonus question and then go. And I want all of you to participate. Usually I have been telling you, but you guys don't as much. I would request you, please put your answers in the chat box. I'll discuss this question in the next session. In the beginning of the next session, we'll discuss this question. Okay. The question in the end, which I'll show you as a homework. Okay. So when you're passing by a meeting hall in your office, you see that all the lights and fans are on. Nobody is there in the hall. What do? You report to the officer in charge. The lights and fans are on. What do you do? Practically, what is expected of anybody to do? You will switch off the lights and fans yourself. Okay. Will you report the officer in charge? Will you call the peon to switch off the lights and fans? Or will you do nothing and pass by thinking that it is not your business? Okay. So it's a very practical answer here. Option C is the correct answer. Now a lot of people are like, okay, if somebody left the lights and fans open, shouldn't I report to the in charge so that the next time this does not happen? Will the in charge know who had left the lights and fans open? And is it that big a crime that you need to report it? You can let it go, but as a human, what your first job is to switch it off. If you are seeing some lights and fans are on, just switch it off. Okay. Correct. Next. Sorry. This is a very interesting question. And I again know a majority of you will give what answer? Okay. So the question says, a house in your neighborhood suddenly set on fire. Okay. What would you do? Try to save your own house first. Even if you would want to, this is not the ideal answer. Shout to collect. Collect means, collect is the wrong word here. Shout to bring people together. No. For people to assemble. No. Inform the fire brigade. Okay. And try to extinguish fire by yourself and inform the fire brigade. Majority of the students select this. They're like, oh, if there is fire in the neighborhood house, I will go outside with a bucket full of water. I'll throw water on the fire and I'm like, now call the fire brigade. That's not how it works. Why? Because maybe you do not know the source of the fire. It can be chemical fire, it can be an electrical fire, it can be anything, it can be a gaslit fire. So I think this much everybody knows that for each type of fire, for each different source, there is a different way to extinguish it. And if a house is set on fire, you cannot do anything with a bucket of water. Okay. Even if you start extinguishing, God forbid, you might just increase the flames because of your incorrect sense of fire extinguishing. So what you need to do is, for here, only one thing, inform the fire brigade. Fire brigade are emergency responders. They'll quickly reach the spot. And if they need help, they will let you know that, okay, please do this, do that. You can do this, do that. This is not first aid. First aid is different. Fire response is different. There is no first fire response. That is why they are known as first responders, not you. Okay. So option C is the correct answer here. Yes, there is a lot of training where people are trained that if at all their building or something catches fire and the fire brigade takes some time to reach there, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, by that time what you can do. So they are always training you for extinguishers. Nobody is telling you that, okay, you just sprinkle some water. So there are 3 outlets available. In case I'm just giving you a little bit extra information here. At any given fire point, there are 3 possibilities. There will be, all 3 will be present. There will be a big hose connected to a water source. Okay. Number 2, there will be, there are little buckets with fire written on them, red color buckets filled with sand, and there will be extinguishers installed. So these 3 will be there to tackle different types of fires. If you know the source, you can start acting. But if you don't, then no. So that is only a specific case. Hence option C is the correct answer. Got it? Next. Correct. Absolutely right, Abhijit. Argamita. Very good. Okay. On your way to the office, you notice a man lying on the road who was hit by a two-wheeler. You are in a hurry to reach the office in time as you will have to attend an urgent meeting. What would you do? You would not take notice of it and go away. Unfortunately, majority of us do that. That's not the right way to go ahead. You would simply inform the police telephonically. Oh, there is somebody who's fallen here. Please come and attend. I'm going. I have my meeting. You would take the injured to the hospital. But what about my meeting? And you would ask others to take the injured to the hospital. Oh yeah, most probable answer that I'll ask others to take him to the hospital so that they can do that. He'll also taken care of and my meeting is also not wasted. This last line has been added to check your empathy, whether your empathy is conditional. Okay, if I am free, if I have got nothing to do, then I can be empathetic. I'll help a human life. But if I am busy, I am on a clock, I have to reach the meeting, my boss will fire me. Oh man, if you're dying, you die. I don't care. Yeah, please help him. I am going, I have a meeting. Again, priorities. Human life is of utmost importance. That person needs first aid immediately. So what you will do is either you will call the ambulance, wait with him till the time help arrives, or you pick him up and you take him to the nearest hospital. Then once he's admitted, then you can go. Okay. So the ideal answer here is again option C. Did you understand how they toyed with your brain? This is what the examiners do, and that is why students feel that these questions are difficult. Okay. Last question for today, but don't rush after this. I'll just briefly explain you, and we'll just cover what all we have done. We'll go through a brief revision, and then we will end this session, and I'll show you your homework question, and then I'll go. Okay, so don't rush immediately. Exactly, Abhijit, exactly. If you ask others for help, maybe they help, maybe they don't help. So the purpose of you helping out the person is defeated altogether. But while writing the exam, this is what a lot of people will think. Okay, they have mentioned that I have a meeting. So see, paying attention to little cues is important, but not paying a lot of attention on unimportant cues is also very important. Knowing where to stop, proper restraint. Okay. So while traveling by a crowded bus, you notice that an old lady having a child in lap is standing as there is no seat for her to sit. What would you do? Ask the conductor to make a seat available for the lady. Ask the lady to sit where you are sitting. I think this is very clear here. No, this thing. Ask the lady not to travel by the crowded bus. Ask someone to offer a seat to the lady. Okay. Again, another question arises here. A lot of students, though this being a very simple question, their minds, overthinkers will complicate this. They'll be like, it is not written that I am also sitting. Maybe I don't have a seat. Then what do I do? So that's a different scenario you are creating, no? It is implied here. If they are giving this as an option, that means it is available. And if it is available, you will choose it. Don't unnecessarily complicate things. Okay, that's the gist of it. Right? So with that being said, we are done with the class. Let's see whether we have achieved our outcomes, learning outcomes today or not. So we have understood the complete concept and application of social and emotional intelligence. I told you what it is all about. What is the purpose of examiners putting this into questions, into examinations? Because they want to test you, not only your analytical, simple, abstract part of your brain, but also your emotional and social part of your brain, right? I have also told you how you can tackle these questions, what are skills are required, and we practiced good questions about the same. So we have achieved our outcomes for today, right? And if you are looking to download the PDF of this session, this is how you can do that. You can log into the updated Oliveboard application, right? In the drop down, select your examination, bottom right corner, click on courses. This page will open up, scroll, go to YouTube class PDFs, click on the required class, and the PDF is yours. And with that, I am parting ways with you for today's session. I'll meet you in the next session with a new topic. Till then, this is your homework question. Take a screenshot and put the answers in the comment box after the session is over. And I will discuss this question with you in the next session. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye. Namaskar. Jai Hind.